Oh, hi. Welcome to the That's Good Broncos podcast. We took last week off. So sorry. I don't know if we gave you a heads up, but we're back. All right, huh, Will?
We're back. It feels good. We didn't really miss anything, though. No. I don't think.
No, we did not miss anything. And today we've got a little bit of Broncos news to talk about. And then I thought we will rewatch our Russell Wilson trade video from last year and react to it in real time, because the title of that video was how the Broncos robbed the Seahawks of Russell Wilson or some shit like that. And
it's a really easy title to change. You just switch the names.
Yeah. But I figured since we both, we co-wrote that video, I think we said a lot of definitive things that have not panned out.
Yeah.
That video got a lot of new views in November. I think everybody just went there to say this aged like insert whatever shitty thing to ages, milk. It almost doubled in views by people laughing at watching how wrong I was. And since we're 1 year into the anniversary of the Russell Wilson trade, we'll do that after we get through some of this Broncos news.
The grand finale of the episode.
Yeah. But how are you, Will?
I'm doing all right. We talked about it before the show, but who would have thought that our two favorite NBA teams are neck and neck in the Western Conference, 1 and 2. The Kings a mere 8 games behind your Denver Nuggets.
Just 8 games.
Just 8 games.
Nugs are on one.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be catching up anytime soon, but it feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I hope the Kings stay in second place. That way the Nuggets and the Kings don't have to play through the playoffs until
it counts.
Yeah, until the final series there. You know what's hard, though, about being a Nuggets fan and loving Nikola Jokic is having to admit how racist I am by liking him.
Yeah, have you thought about that? Have you? I'm glad you're able to admit your prejudice. I'm trying to find like a football equivalent for that, because he's kind of like when Peyton was winning his first few MVPs.
Oh, yeah, possibly.
You're like, oh, this guy's this guy's a regular season stat patter. Jokic dropping triple doubles just about every night. Peyton throws for 48 touchdowns, but he's not, the furthest he's gotten is conference title game. Yeah, really, or series in the case of the Nuggets. But I don't recall being called racist or anything for thinking Peyton Manning should win the MVP.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have ESPN trying to
I'm sure now. Yeah, I think now if that happened, he'd get called racist for voting for him over, like, I don't know, Priest Holmes.
Yeah. That should be anti-religion, though, if you're voting against priests.
A priest, yeah.
Right?
Well, priests weren't very popular.
Blasphemous.
Priests weren't super popular at that point in the mid-2000s. Multiple scandals.
No, priests were going through a rough.
Yeah, so I get why the voters chose to ignore him.
Quite honestly, Priest Holmes is probably my favorite Kansas City Chief.
He was
after
very
not
underrated.
Having to play against him, I always really respected the way he ran the ball. I was like, this dude is just so good and kind of underrated. And the Broncos, they'd had their Super Bowls and they'd beaten the Chiefs in the playoffs. So my hate for the Chiefs was kind of on the downslope at the time. I was like, You know what? I'm going to be a grown adult and say, I kind of like Priest Holmes, even though he plays for the enemy. He was probably the first Chief. I said, I don't mind that guy. Don't mind him.
He was. I think people forget that he was on that 2000 Ravens team.
Oh, was he?
Behind Jamal Lewis.
Yeah. Did he
Strange
go to
little
Kansas City?
career.
So he went to KC after that, or was that before?
Yeah, he went to
Yeah.
Kansas City
Okay.
after, and then 2004, I believe, maybe it was 2003. He broke the touchdown record. Didn't win MVP, strangely. Sean Alexander, 2005, breaks the touchdown record. 2006, as we've recounted in a video, LaDainian Tomlinson broke the touchdown record.
Yeah.
So I think 3 times in 4 years or 3 times in 3 years. Really crazy. But
Yeah.
never going to be broken again, I don't think.
No.
Well, unless we go to like 18 games. It's on the table.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Jamal Williams next year.
Oof, as a Bronco.
Yeah.
Please be a Bronco. If you think about, so you got LT, Terrell Davis, Priest Holmes. Who's the best Raiders running back?
Marcus Allen.
Marcus Allen. Oh, yeah, but you could throw even Bo Jackson in there for that short streak.
Napoleon Kaufman, maybe.
Does the AFC
Lamont
West,
Jordan.
could you argue the best set of running backs ever? NFC North would be hard because you can
Oh, that's a good question.
You could have Barry Sanders and Walter Payton.
And Paul Hornig. Jim Taylor running the sweep left for Vince Lombardi.
AFC West has unequivocally the greatest tight ends who have ever played the game, though. You got Kelsey,
definitely.
You got Tony Gonzalez, you got Shannon Sharp, of course, and you got Antonio Gates in there. Like,
and don't forget about Dave Casper, Todd Christensen, Darren Waller.
Ooh.
Raiders
always slacking. Slacking.
Oh, those are good players.
Would Marcus Allen play as a Raider or a Chief, though? That's the real question.
At this point, I don't know. I feel like the Raiders, he was just on the bench for the Raiders for a really long time. That's why his career was so long.
Yeah.
Played like 15 years.
That's insane for a running
Crazy
back
stuff.
when you think about it.
Yeah, Al Davis didn't like him for some reason. So maybe he would choose to be a Chief.
Yeah, maybe. All right. What's the Broncos news we got to talk about before we react to this video?
Yeah, we got so much news today. Let's get this signing out of the way. We have signed wide receiver, tight end, hybrid, little Jordan Humphrey. Not big Jordan, but little Jordan, who played, I think, 2019 to 2021 with the Saints.
Yeah.
For Sean Payton, and then he played a year for the Patriots. Gives him just like a nice little flex option, a chess piece, I think, in the offense, and he's a good special teamer, which I think is always at a premium for us.
Yeah, there's 2 things I like about that. Well, 3. 1, he was in our best named players episode, whatever freaking year that was.
Yeah.
2, like you just said, if you can come in and contribute to special teams, that's great. And also, when a coach brings in a guy at a position group like that used to play for him, I think he becomes valuable in helping the other players in that position group sort of learn, their new offense, what coach likes, and all that shit. So I think that's just like an asset to the receiving room, to have a guy who kind of knows the shtick there with Sean Payton.
Yeah, it's like when we signed Peyton Manning, and we also brought in like Stokely and Jacob Tammy.
Yeah.
Who are actually good. They're actually very good for us too.
Yeah.
But I like that signing. It's a little bit of depth.
Yeah.
And it could end up, he could, rise on the depth chart if, as NBC Sports' Matthew Berry is reporting after last week's NFL scouting combine, Denver is quietly shopping.
Why did they have to say quietly? They say that with like all of these trade rumors.
They're quietly shopping Cortland Sutton.
Hello, Chicago. Is this the Bears?
That is ahead of the March 15th start of free agency. That's in 6 days.
Yeah.
So if they really want to trade him, which doesn't sound like they really want to trade him, they'd have to do it pretty quickly.
No.
Not a whole lot of time left. I don't know. This is a situation where he's not a guy that gets paid a lot of money. Him and Tim Patrick both took really team-friendly deals.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not like this guy's an albatross. He's a good player. I don't know that he'll ever return to where he was in 2019, but that's also, you also have to kind of wipe the slate clean with how bad the offense was last year. And the year before that, he was coming back from injury. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a, solid 900, close to 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
In 2023. But if you get an offer that's good enough, you kind of have to.
If you can get a second round pick for him, I think you take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I
that's
think
what you
fair.
need at this point is a second rounder.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to get that. But I know, the Bears are a team that they have a ton of cap and they are going to have extra draft capital. And we talked to EJ Snyder yesterday on GPS. And he wants Sutton in Chicago.
I think he actually makes a lot of sense with Fields, who's not, like the most pinpoint accurate quarterback. So you get a bigger guy in there who's going to have a bigger catch radius. You can just throw those jump balls to him in the red zone. I think that would actually help Chicago's offense quite a bit.
Yeah, I would take Sutton over Chase Claypool. So that would be an upgrade for the Bears.
Well, yeah. Do they spend second-round picks on a wide receiver in back-to-back years?
Yeah, that's probably
in the span of like a few months, even.
That might sting. That might sting a bit.
Yeah, Claypool's. We'll
see. It's kind of like a good situation in that you can trade him, and if Tim Patrick comes back and he's healthy, he's like his replacement's right there.
Yeah.
And if you can't, you still have a pretty good receiver, like you were saying, on the roster, and that's never a bad thing.
No.
I just don't know about, Russell Wilson really liked to target Cortland Sutton. At least he seemed like his favorite target until they kind of switched his role a bit. So like I want to say it just didn't seem like the fit between Russ and Sutton was the best, but I don't really know if that's true. I think it's more of an issue that just the whole offense was kind of fucked.
Yeah, I'd like to see his targets last year, and I think he got a lot of targets. He just the catch rate wasn't.
He dropped more passes than
very good.
We've been accustomed to with Sutton, because like what wowed us in that season with Drew Lock is he was catching everything.
He had 109 targets in 15 games, which is second most of his career.
Wow.
Caught 59% of them, which is second most in his career.
Yeah.
I think he was a little bit better than we remember last year. He just didn't score. He scored twice. Once in the last game of the year.
Yeah. To me, I think his biggest issue is getting the kind of separation I feel like Russ needs to see his receivers get.
Yeah.
It's like an uneducated observation, but I don't know.
That's part of it. And you also have to just give him a chance too. Like if he's not the guy getting a ton of separation, I think Sean Payton will find a way to scheme our guys open a little bit more, even if they're not, Jerry Jeudy, who are breaking ankles on routes. And B, like, just throw him the ball. Throw him the ball even when he's covered.
Could he be like that Michael Thomas guy in Peyton's offense? Because Thomas is big for the way they used him, right?
I don't know if he's as quick as Michael Thomas, or at least as Michael Thomas used to be.
Yeah.
Thomas, I think, is kind of in between Jeudy and Sutton or Patrick, which is what used to make him so good. Maybe he'll get back to close to that, but no, I think he's more like a Marcus Colston. I feel like. I don't know. Colston hasn't played obviously in a long time, so hard to say whether that's a good comparison or not.
All right,
but a good player.
We'll see if he gets moved. Denver could free up a decent amount of cap space by cutting who, Will? Who are the cap casualties?
Graham Glasgow,
Dead.
Ronald Darby,
Injury pending.
Chase Edmonds.
Depends on who they
Strucker.
think they can draft or get in free agency. But
Yeah.
I like him coming back.
I like him. I think they got to rework that contract because
Yeah.
I think if they cut him, that's just like a free $5 million. And Mike Purcell.
If they don't bring
like
Dre'Mont Jones back, you got to keep Purcell.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with the game of roulette we're playing on the defensive line.
Yeah.
That's very tricky, very tricky. Yeah, I don't know. I think with the way that Damari Mathis played last year, feel pretty good about getting rid of. You probably want to sign another corner anyway, but I don't think Ronald Darby's like a must-have back there.
I want Jamel Dean. Give me the big. I think I spent some big money to get Jamel Dean, but
okay,
they're not going to. But I think he's going to be the best corner. He's going to make a lot of money. And if Dre'Mont Jones, if they don't work it out, he's going to make a shit ton of money too. Because they didn't tag him. He wants to hit free agency. I think he's gone. I don't think he's going to come back because I think he's going to get a lot of money to go play somewhere else. Chicago's another name linked to Dre'Mont Jones because they have the money that they can spend on him.
yeah.
So if he is going, you got to keep Purcell because your defensive line starts to get very thin after that.
Yeah, I don't like the way it looks when you lose those two guys.
No, I wonder if they could convince Russ Wilson to restructure yet.
Man. Yeah, I probably not, but he should.
Yeah.
I think
if you sign a huge contract in that first season,
you suck.
You really underachieve. I think you need to have the hubris to just say, all right,
yeah,
I need more help. I'm getting older. I need more help. That's a hard thing for guys to admit as they get older. They need more help.
No, you're totally right. We've seen it happen with Elway and with Manning in the last year or 2 years of their career.
Yeah,
and I don't think they win a Super Bowl without taking pay cuts. That's how thin the margins are.
Yeah,
it probably helped the Broncos sign Neil Smith.
Fuck yeah,
guy like that.
One of my favorite signings ever.
Probably helped the Broncos sign. They really signed a lot of guys before 2015, but maybe Darian Stewart.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be nice. I mean, right now it feels like we are living with the reality of paying a franchise quarterback without reaping the rewards of having a franchise quarterback that you pay a lot of money.
That leads perfectly into this video we're going to react to.
Let's do it.
Number one thing moving forward that I demand is that we remove Let's Ride, we remove Mr. Unlimited, and from now on, Russell Wilson is Lil Blood. He's Lil Blood moving forward, and if you don't refer to him as Lil Blood, I will not acknowledge you. This is from maybe the most honest football player to ever play, Marshawn Lynch.
I ain't gonna that little motherfucker good, bro. You feel what I'm saying?
Explain
now,
good though, because right
I'm
now
saying,
you know he's under a lot of
good
heat.
Or man, I don't care. I'm just from when I was lined up on the side of this little. You feel what I'm saying? I watched Lil Blood. You feel me though? Come through and make plays. You feel me though? Make throws, and I watched him make sacrifices. So as much as I'm hot because we didn't win the second Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, I really watched his sacrifice.
I would like to go with Lil Motherfucker, but I don't think that's his. I don't think it's going to catch on like Lil Blood. So
doesn't roll off the tongue quite as much. Brandon Marshall also played with Russell Wilson too, so it's two Russell Wilson teammates talking about Russell Wilson.
That's right.
I like the Marshawn Lynch
5,002.
Sorry, it's just cute. No. Continue. I forget it autoplays when I bring it in.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's just nice to have a couple guys stick up for Russell Wilson. I know there's more out there, but Lynch is a big one.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that's gotten lost. He was good. He was very good. He just needs a season.
He needs a new PR guy. I think restructuring his contract would give him a lot of goodwill in the public eye. Not that it really matters. Maybe downsize in terms of his house. Cut to 12 bathrooms down to come on.
6.
What is this?
6, 8,
9,
7. John
9.
Elway 7.
7's good. 7's good.
Or you go the opposite way and you get a Peyton Manning 18 bathroom house. Like, why not?
Where the fuck do you put 12 bathrooms? Not to be like you can't have 12 bathrooms. You can have as many bathrooms as you want. I'm just wondering, where do you put them? How many? Are there any bathrooms that have never been used in that house?
No.
Do you just
you rotate every day. You go to another one. That way you only have to clean your bathrooms like every 6 months.
That's it. I don't. Yeah. How often do you clean your bathroom?
During football season, not as much because I'm busy, but
yeah.
Actually,
how often do they get cleaned? I think is another.
Every couple weeks, right? Like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
1 week if you're on it.
How many bathrooms do you have? You have 1, 2. You have 3.
3 bathrooms. We need a 4th. I need one downstairs.
Yeah, you do. Maybe just a hole. Just a bucket.
Okay.
One of those gamer chairs with a hole in it. Sorry, go ahead.
5,280 feet. There's no NFL team on earth that can get Russell Wilson closer to God than the Denver Broncos.
So right here, I'm just trying to point out we were linking Russ to the Broncos well before it happened, right?
Yeah.
That's it from December 2021.
December 8th, 2021, I called that shit. Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. How did Sierra's Level Up become the most played song in my playlist, Perna?
Level up, level up, level up. 5, 4, 3, 2. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
Level up, level up, level up, level up.
No, you want this young.
So far, I stand by everything that's happening in this video.
Yeah, no, this is aged like milk now. It's aged like a fine wine so far.
If we get out of here now, I think this video holds up.
Yeah. Let's just call it a day.
Yummy all in your tongue.
This yummy in your tummy. Speaking of tummy, I can't wait to introduce you to green chili, Russ and Ciara. Russell Wilson landed in Denver with his agent. Broncos country rejoiced. The 12th man, though, they mourned.
Wow. See, we didn't even have Let's Ride yet officially.
Nope. Yeah, that's where you would have put a Let's Ride if you had one at that point.
Because you can't say Broncos country without Let's Ride now, can you?
No. Just
you say what you want about Russ.
So natural.
He made that shit stick.
Yeah, he did, for better or worse.
The loss of not just Russell Wilson, but also Bobby Wagner. And today, I want to talk about how the Broncos pulled off the greatest heist in NFL history and ask, what the hell is Pete Carroll doing? At age 70, Pete Carroll is ready for a total rebuild. At age 70, Pete Carroll asked, what are we rebuilding again? Today, That's Good Sports.
Damn you, Pete. Sneaky Pete. Sneaky Pete's his new name.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess they kind of, to be fair to you, they did rebuild. Just they did it really quickly.
Yeah. They rebuilt in one offseason.
Yeah. Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah. So my face was recovering from the monkey beard.
Yeah.
This Manscaped ad never ends. All right. There we go. My favorite.
Go ahead.
By the way.
Call John Elway Johnny Hooker and George Payton Paul Newman because Denver just pulled off the greatest robbery since the Sting. We are Ocean's 11 and you're the fucking casino. Stay out of the casino, Calvin Ridley. Now, I do feel for Seahawks fans. We should treat losing a franchise quarterback the way we treat someone when their grandma dies. With respect, sympathy, and by trying to exit the conversation as quickly as possible so they don't bring us down with them. Unfortunately for ESPN's biggest Seahawks fan, Mina Kimes, Adam Schefter foreshadowed this exact scenario via an April Fool's prank.
You have not heard about what's happening today.
What is happening, Adam?
The Seattle Seahawks, okay? The Seattle Seahawks are busy getting ready for the draft this month.
Literally, I'm calling HR on you. I'm calling HR on you. I'm calling HR.
That occurred well before many thought Adam Schefter's reporting was the joke. But the day from hell was not over for Seahawks fans, as then they learned their team cut Bobby Wagner.
See, now there's a move. Maybe, I don't know what it did for the salary cap, but Wagner played really well last season. And I think maybe if Seattle kept him around, because they have Jordan Brooks, and that's probably why they moved on from Wagner, right?
Yes.
And then he got hurt, though. Maybe that defense is a little bit better. Maybe Seattle wins a game or two because of Bobby Wagner, and they would have been in the playoffs.
Play the 49ers in the playoffs, yeah. Good.
Maybe.
Fair.
So, honestly, getting rid of Wagner hurt them more than Russell Wilson.
I think this video is just going to make us talk ourselves back into the Russell Wilson trade being a robbery for us.
I think it's going to get worse soon. And
we'll see. We'll see if we can spin it.
Just so everybody knows, I have not watched this video since we uploaded it. So I really don't know what's coming.
We just came off a season with 118 tackles, a sack, and a pick. Bobby, yeah, he's past his prime, but he's still a top 20, top 15 linebacker in the NFL, and the last piece of the Legion of Boom.
I said top 20, top 15. I think he was graded out as the first or second best linebacker last year.
Everybody just assumes he did nothing because he played for the Rams.
Yeah.
Seattle had to hold on to. It is truly an end of an era there. Imagine if in the early 90s, Pat Bowlen chose Dan Reeves over John Elway, an old school coach who wanted to run first and win with defense. That's exactly what Seattle just did. And instead of bringing in a young, innovative, offensive, forward-thinking coach like Denver did with Mike Shanahan, or like Seattle's two biggest division rivals in the Rams and 49ers deploy, you essentially bet on your bouncer instead of your stripper to keep your titty bar in business, Seattle. Now,
who came up with that reference? You or me?
That sounds like you.
Yeah.
the interesting nugget in my eyes, next to Bones Highland, of course, was learning.
That one didn't age well. That
No!
didn't age well.
I cursed Bones.
Yeah, that's a boner on your part.
Oh, shit.
He's not that good, though.
This video did age poor. He's not that good.
Yeah. I mean, not with the Clippers. I mean, yeah.
Don't tell that to Nuggets fans.
Okay, I won't do that.
I think they're fine because the Nuggets are still winning. But
Yeah,
People love
cursed Bones, though, for sure.
damn, what other gyms are going
that Russell Wilson only wanted to be traded to the Broncos. He refused to sign his no-trade clause for the Commanders, who now have Carson Wentz, and the
Oh, we were right about
More.
that one.
Yeah,
Poor
no
Carson
more
Wentz.
Carson Wentz.
Sucks so bad. Poor Carson Wentz. He sucks. Is that sympathetic?
Yeah. What's that Adam Silver meme? Better start learning Chinese, buddy. Nah, you better start learning an XFL playbook, buddy.
Ooh, man. Yeah, I would actually like to see Wentz in the XFL.
Yeah, he'd probably dominate.
I really don't know if he would. You think that, but I think
No one really dominates in the XFL. Is the weird
That's the
thing
thing.
about none of the quarterbacks are good enough to dominate, other than Brandon Silvers.
yeah. I mean,
pretty
Danucci's
good.
going to rise,
Yeah,
but Silvers is becoming the new XFL dude.
Eagles, per some reports. Why wouldn't a man with a high character and a great respect for women not want to play for Dan Snyder? Can you imagine agreeing to be traded to play for the Commanders and that scumbag on National Women's Day? Not Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson passed his physical, which for a man who spends $1 million a year on his body, not even God himself would be able to find a flaw on this perfect human specimen. Joe Flacco, he also spent $1 million a year on his body, but that was just to ensure his eyebrows never connected again.
That's got to be you. You had to have done it.
Who's to say at this point? I think we share a brain.
Okay. 2 first-rounders.
In exchange for Wilson, the Broncos surrendered 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and got Seattle's 4th in exchange for a 5th. Also sent over Drew Lock to free up jersey number 3, of course, Shelby Harris, and the biggest piece, in my opinion, former first-round tight end Noah Fant.
Turns out
jersey number reference, 100% Will. 100% Will.
I'm the only one that cares about that. In hindsight, Shelby Harris was definitely the prize of those 3 players.
Yeah.
And Fant was, I don't know, it was just kind of a piece.
Yeah, who else did they have? Was he splitting time with Will Dissly, basically?
I think so, yeah. Dissly and yeah, it's pretty much him. Yeah, 50 grabs, 486 yards last year. His numbers went down pretty significantly from when he was in Denver.
Fant needs to just be your number 1 tight end. I think you just need to get him the ball more. But
they surrendered a lot so that we never have to surrender to the Chiefs again. As Mike Kliss mentioned, moving those players and picks actually vacated about $36.42 million in cap space, giving the Broncos even more money than they needed to accommodate Russell Wilson's $24 million salary and cap hit. Denver also still has 10 draft picks. That's 3 more than Seattle still has, including 4 in the top 100, just like Seattle. Now, Seahawks fans, here's who you are getting.
yeah, except Seattle had some first-rounders, and they really crushed them.
Drew Lock, a.k.a. Horsecock Lock. And don't you dare try and call him Seacock Lock, all right? I never hated Drew Lock, but he is the definition of expendable. He might fit Pete Carroll's run-first philosophy, but I will be shocked if Seattle doesn't draft their next QB at 9. I loved Shelby Harris.
I got shocked.
Shocked.
I love that man in a very sexual way, but he is a 30-year-old defensive tackle. That said, he will win you at least 1 football game, Seattle, by blocking a last-second field goal attempt by Matt Gay or Robbie Gould. So enjoy.
Robbie Gould leaving. He's leaving.
Yeah, he's gone. See ya.
Nothing Gold lasts.
What about
forever.
Matt Gay? Matt Gay's still there in LA?
I think so, right?
Most importantly, you get Noah Fant. Now, this hurts a little bit because he would be thriving catching passes from, Russell Wilson.
Probably
Fant
not.
does play his best football with Drew Lock, but Seattle will need to exercise his 5th-year option or he will be a free agent after 2022. He was expendable because Denver has Albert O and a deep tight end class.
Oh, Alberto.
Deep tight end class, right, though. Greg Dulcich was, not that much worse than Noah Fant in 6-year games.
Yeah, I think Dulcich will be better than Fant.
Agreed.
And Albert O started to look pretty good when they let him on the field. So
Yeah, when you let a guy play football,
yeah,
generally it's easier to produce on a football field.
really helps when
You're allowed to get out there.
super athletic, talented player is allowed to get some balls.
In the draft where they might replace him, might I suggest Colorado State tight end Trey McBride, who will only leave you at the altar 3 times. Plus, there are about 100 free agent tight ends if the Broncos really think that's a need. Either way, Russ will make Albert O look like Albert. Oh my God, I can't believe we just scored 60 points on the fucking Chiefs. So let's recap why.
We did score.
He did score against the Chiefs. He did score against the Chiefs.
Chiefs. All right. So far, not as bad as I thought this was going to be.
Seattle really lost this trade. Seattle picked
This is where it's going to get bad.
Yeah.
an old-ass coach who never won anything in the NFL without Russell Wilson over
Still true.
Russell Wilson. At least the Seahawks will never get sued for ageism. 70-year-old Pete Carroll. The Broncos got a franchise quarterback, a perennial top 10, top 5 talent when he doesn't break his finger mid-season in exchange for some draft picks, one of which they would have used on a QB anyway, and 3 players. Only one of which
They wouldn't have drafted a guy.
I don't think
George
so.
Payton. If
No.
he wasn't ready to take Justin Fields,
He wasn't
certainly
taking
wasn't
Kenny
going to take
Pickett.
anybody in the last
Yeah.
draft.
Right.
Except maybe your guy Carson Wentz, Carson Strong, very, very late.
We can only wish.
has a ton of upside in Fant, who Denver already has a talented, cheaper replacement for. Seattle got worse at the most important position in all sports, and now have the
Couldn't have predicted Geno.
Nope. Who
ability
could?
to
Who could?
Okay.
replace that position in what many consider the worst QB draft class in years.
Still
The
true.
Broncos will be good in 2022, so the 2023 first rounder they gave the Seahawks is probably going to be a 28-32 pick. Denver Bears
That one hurts. It's the 5th pick. Oh God. Oh no. Poor Hackett.
One of the funniest parts. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Poor Hackett.
Russ Wilson with the young head coach who got the best football out of Aaron Rodgers. Seattle, you get a nice QB who is most well known for having a giant penis. As a Broncos fan, it does feel a little weird not having the Colts involved when we steal a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback from their team. And if there was any doubt, I think this
Russ could become the first quarterback that comes to Denver only to ruin his chances of getting to the Hall of Fame.
Everybody says people are saying that like Russell, like you can you play yourself out of the Hall of Fame if you're already like a consensus Hall of Famer and you have shitty years in the twilight of your career. Like I don't think so. Like what's the difference between retiring like at your peak versus just hanging on? Like doesn't ruin everything that came before it.
No, I think the
Silly to
difference
me.
with Russ though is he's still young enough where depending on how many more years he plays, if you play enough bad years, I think it'll hurt.
Yeah, but then you get to
if you have 10
pad the
good years
stats, too.
and then 6 really bad years, I could see the argument against. I don't know if he was considered a
Maybe
it's-
consensus is a little much, but
Yeah, he
I
was
don't
on
know.
the path. Like it was, if he just kind of continues with these strong numbers, he'll be a guy.
he'll bounce back. People just don't like him. That's why they say these things.
Also, the Hall of Fame for quarterbacks, there's almost like this 2 Super Bowl minimum now.
Interesting.
It's close. I mean, Kurt Warner, I guess, got in, right?
Yeah, he also went to 3, and he's got a crazy story too. Yeah, no, Warner was bad for several years.
There you go. But
He was really
but
good.
then he had another comeback. So Russ just needs
Yeah, but Russ was already better for longer than Warner was at the beginning
Yeah.
of his career. Anyway, we're splitting hairs.
he needs a comeback.
ESPN graphic says it all about who won the trade. Very simply, Pete Carroll and John Schneider, Seahawks GM, they struggled to build a team with Russell Wilson. Building one without him will only be harder. Pete Carroll committed the great sin, refusing to adopt his philosophy to the strength of his QB.
Okay, so maybe that's wrong.
Yeah, 0 for 2 right there.
But that was the narrative at the time.
It was. Yeah. Let's just couch this by saying we're not being revisionist. This is just how everybody felt at the time.
But now I think it was
Everybody,
the
maybe
opposite.
except for like Seahawks fans who were like a little delusional at the time, to be honest. And I think they still are. But that's just how things have shaken out.
it's hard to know what's true when a big name player's leaving a team that, for the most part, people love them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when a guy with great stature is exiting a franchise, all of a sudden people try to manage the hurt by
lashing
saying
out.
he wasn't good. He had these problems. It was this, it was that. And
Well,
that's
we're about to see, I think,
with
the
Russ.
opposite. We're going to see the opposite of it with Aaron Rodgers in the next couple days, maybe. I don't think they'll lash. I don't think Packers fans are going to lash out at him, even though they have the same number of Super Bowls, right?
Yeah. No, I think Packers fans are ready to move on. They've made peace with it.
Yes.
And, other people have thrown Rodgers under the bus enough for them.
Right.
Even though he's still really fucking good.
Yeah.
And let his ego become bigger than his ability to evolve as a coach. You're not half the coach Belichick is, and look how it's going for him. I am very pleased with this exchange. I don't think the Broncos gave up too much. No. If Pete Carroll wanted us to
I should have said they should have given up more.
Yeah.
name a mountain after him, it wouldn't have been too much. And over there we have Mount Pete. Yeah, the highest peak in Colorado. Because you'd have to be high to trade Russell Wilson. And that doesn't even mention the fact that Russell Wilson makes Denver a much more appealing destination for free agents, specifically Von Miller. Now teasing us with these Russell Wilson Instagram posts. It's obviously a big deal that they got this done, this deal with Russell Wilson done prior to the legal tamponing period. Because if you don't get your tampons in before the period, free agency can be a real bloodbath.
That was you.
Sorry, tampering period. Ex-Colorado Rocky Russell Wilson is back in the Mile High City, and John Elway's last move was hiring GM George Payton, who got Russell Wilson. Never forget, John Elway is king, baby.
Johnny John
And also, Broncos fans, we can say goodbye to that fucking quarterback carousel.
Did we get the carousel? I don't think we ever got the carousel this year.
The difference is now, if you want to rub Broncos fans the wrong way, the carousel should just be Russell Wilson, but in 7 spots for every year. They got to keep paying him.
That would actually be pretty good.
Yeah.
I never want to see that shit again in my life. I want the carousel to come off its axis and roll into the sea and catch fire on the way and somehow burn underwater so that it's both hot and cold, dry and wet at the same time until it hits the seafloor where Satan's asshole opens up from the sand like a hidden stingray and swallows that thing and takes it down to the 7th level of hell where it will suffer like I did the last 6 years watching Broncos football.
7.
Now Russell Wilson immediately makes the Broncos a Super Bowl contender. Eat poo-poo, Nick Wrong.
Now the Super Bowl chances are even further away because he's not on a better team, he doesn't have a better coach, and he's in an impossible division.
Do you know how I know Nathaniel Hackett is a better coach than Pete Carroll?
I did the worst thing
can't
possible.
stand
He wouldn't
that
give
guy.
up
I really
2
can't
first
stand
rounders for a
Look accurate.
Man. Nick Wright, he puts me in a tough spot because he's like the biggest Chiefs homer on television, but I think he also likes the Kings. So, fuck him. I don't like him. Get off my TV, Nick Wrong.
You know what bothers me about Nick Wright? It's mostly just the way he looks and talks.
His hair is just awful.
He looks like a villain.
He
and
does.
then when his team is the Chiefs, he literally is a villain to me.
I don't care.
safety.
First time I ever saw Nick Wright, I actually really liked what he was saying. It was about basketball. But
Seattle gave up as many first-round picks for Jamal Adams as Denver gave up for Russell Wilson.
Denver is not a Super Bowl contender.
Hey, Nick, shut the fuck up.
His big issue with Seattle was offensive line. I don't know how much Broncos games he's been watching, but that offensive line ain't great, buddy.
Shut the fuck up.
No,
The Seahawks had the 8th or 9th worst pass blocking line in the league last year. Denver had the 9th best pass blocking line. And since entering the NFL, no QB has been sacked more than Russell Wilson, 427 sacks. Denver is a better team who just received an award for having the best draft in 2021, which means they are built for.
They might still be a better team. They just got injured.
They did get very injured.
I think if you include everybody that got injured and you stack them up with Seattle and you take the coach out of the equation, better team.
We'll see it this year.
Better team.
I'm going to say Sean Payton's a better coach than Pete Carroll right now.
The future. This is a slam dunk. Russell Wilson last year threw 9 touchdowns on deep balls. The Broncos quarterbacks didn't throw 9 deep balls total last season.
3, 2, 1, level up.
A good quarterback helps your team win games. Russell Wilson has 104 wins already. That's 16th best all time, trailing only Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers for active QBs.
And now he's got 108. Baby.
Yeah, baby.
Russ struggled in a few games after he returned from that finger surgery too soon. And once he healed completely, he completed 64.6% of his passes through 15 touchdowns to 3 picks, and Seattle averaged 20.
Damn. That's basically after he returned from that injury is what he did all season in Denver.
It's also like how he looked. I don't know what was worse for him, the finger injury or just Nathaniel Hackett. Got to be Hackett.
Yeah.
But he came off of that. He looked good. He came off of the season-ending injury that is Nathaniel Hackett and looked really good again.
Yeah. They tried 3 different guys calling plays for the offense. That's not good.
9 points per game. And
even if one's not the best, just stick with it all season. Because if you keep changing shit up on the players, it's not just going to affect the quarterback. It's going to affect everyone.
his passer
I just don't know why they didn't go to Outten sooner.
Just stuck with it.
rating was
the
5th
offensive
best in the league. Now imagine what he does with a head coach that fucking wants him and wants to throw the ball with him and is willing to call an offense to his strengths.
And that man is Sean Payton.
Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube.
All right, Will. Oops. Whoa.
Ooh.
That was it. Wasn't as bad as I thought.
No. I was prepared for worse. We
weren't right. We weren't right about some things. But we weren't totally wrong.
weren't awful.
Honestly,
I think if you, it's all about, context. You have to place that video within the context of the time and setting. And 2022 is a long time ago. Things were different. Joe Biden was president back then.
Yep.
He's still president now, but he was a year younger. COVID was still kind of a thing. I think you have to give us a pass for things like that.
Yeah. It's that, and here's my honest feeling about it is the trade does not look good, obviously, right? At this moment. But it's part of a longer process. And I think Russell Wilson and the offense will look better this year.
Yeah.
They don't have to be the best offense in football, but as long as they look better this year, take a big step in the right direction, then this trade won't seem as bad at the end of next season. I think there's plenty of time for Russ to course correct, and I think he's got enough good football left in him that this trade will never look perfect, but I've got another year before I'm going to say, okay, we really effed it up.
Right.
But at the point when you or I will say they whiffed, they did everything wrong with this trade, the Broncos will be back in the driver's seat with their own draft picks and can control building their team that way. So it won't even feel that bad at that point.
And I think too, another point that should be made with the George Payton side of this is it the result didn't work out so far, but I think the process was good, and I don't fault him for making that trade at all.
No.
I do fault him for hiring Nathaniel Hackett.
Yep.
But both of those things were considered good moves at the time.
Yeah.
Just trading, like, I don't think he had Russell Wilson played like we had expected him to play or close to it. Like, obviously you don't sweat the picks, even if, Seattle turns it into uses those picks to make a quick rebuild and get back to the playoffs. Like,
Yeah.
still take that every time. And so I've never understood faulting Peyton for all of that. George Payton, not Sean Payton.
And honestly,
Clarify
let's say he went in a different direction. Say they hired Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
I think the team would have been, better. Maybe. I don't know if they get Evero on defense, right? Because a big reason Evero came was his relationship with Hackett. Maybe the offense is a little better. But if they're not good, but say if they're average, you're rolling with Dan Quinn again, and you don't have Sean Payton.
Yeah.
So if Sean Payton turns out to be the reason that the Broncos turn out to be good again, then Nathaniel Hackett was the catalyst because he was so bad that forced you to get Sean Payton. So maybe it's one of those things.
It's like when you miss on a first round quarterback. Would you rather have a quarterback so bad that you know right away that he's not the guy, or someone who's going to drag it out, like Marcus? I don't know. It's not a good comparison,
Mariota?
but like Jameis Winston, who's like good for a while, but he's never going to take the next step.
Yeah,
and he's kind of a tease. It's like, would you rather have that or Paxton Lynch, where he just sucks right off the bat?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. I think
right away. Give me the worst right away so you can move on. Like the NFL, like you almost need that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the sunk cost fallacy.
Correct.
I suppose.
And as usual, Will and I don't look as bad as we thought we did.
Yeah. Good job by us.
Good job by us. We'll be back next week because a lot should be happening with free agency. So come back. Come back now, y'all.
Come on back.
That's our new ending. Come on back now, y'all.
Come on.
Well, roll in the weeds.